Can I share my screen meanwhile others are joining? I have a doubt. Am I audible?
Hey, yes, Imran. I'm just filling up some forms. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we will see at the end of the class. Or probably I'll just get back by 9. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
होता है।
ଏଇଟା ବି ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟଅପ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀଟା ସେ ବି ଚାହିଁବେ ଯଦି ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟଅପ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀରେ हेलो Adil, am I audible clearly? Hello.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, hi, hi, Sudhakar. Yes, yes. Yeah, we'll start the class by 9:05. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Please mute
Himanshu,
yourself.
please mute yourself.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am.
Imran, we can discuss the doubts during end of the class session, okay? Sudhakar, did you have any doubts? I was just giving a test just before, so I was not able to miss out your doubts. Sudhakar, you were saying anything?
No, ma'am, I don't have for yesterday class. I have another like day before class now, so I have that doubt. The 1 hour I was not there, no, so
Okay, probably go through the recordings.
yes,
We'll
yes,
discuss
I'll
it.
do that. Yeah, sure,
Okay,
ma'am, sure.
yeah. Yeah, I'll add the MCQ now. Then we'll start.
Ma'am, have you uploaded the MCQ because I'm not getting the option.
No, I'm just adding it. Give me a minute. Yes, add it for data batch. See this node the thing, the MCQ question, okay? This is respect to JavaScript only. The way it behaves in Node.js modules is something different, I'll tell you. Baba batch also, MCQ I have added. By the time you answer, I'll share my screen. Not able to see the screen?
Hello, ma'am.
Anshu? Yes, Junaid.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in MCQ.
Yes.
Ma'am, we are compiling index.js. Therefore, first we'll print running index.js. Then will it return 1 plus 2 like 3, right?
The thing is, first your JavaScript will work in such a way that all your import statements will be done first. Okay, so it will try to import all the dependencies and then put it in one file. Okay, so when it is trying to do that, when it is trying to import your sum.js file, obviously console.log is the first one, right? So that will get implemented and then only your sum will be exported. Got it? So running sum.js would be the first one. Okay, since the imports are the one which are getting done at first, okay, running sum.js would be the first statement printed. And then again after that, what you have? After that, it will try to do whatever you have in the index.js. Okay, so now what you have index running index.js and then the sum function would be invoked. Got it? Before executing your root file, all your imports will be first fetched in and then put, will be running. Okay. Only after your import files are done running, the main file will be executed. Got that part?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is with respect to ES6 modules only, the way ES6 works. Okay, if you try this in the same thing in Node, that is common JS module, whatever you are expecting, right? Running index.js and then running sum.js and then 3. That would be the answer because Node.js ES6 modules supports dynamic import. Okay, it supports dynamic import, so it will run based on whenever you call that function, only then it will go and execute. Only when you try to import some, then only it will go and execute. Whereas I'm talking about the Node.js thing. Okay, that is no, whenever I need that file, I'll go and run that. Whereas JavaScript ES6 modules, what it will do is try to import all the dependencies first and then execute the file. Try it in Node.js, you will get a different response. Okay. Today we will see about streams, buffers. I gave a simple introduction on buffers. Okay, buffers are mostly used in streams only. You will not have the necessity to have individual buffer and all, but we will see syntaxes of how to create our own buffers. And then we will see about how you can, whenever you call the API, right, backend APIs, how are we going to check the path and query params. Okay, we will see these two topics for today. Okay, so before we start, any doubts on yesterday's class? More on file. Okay, tell me what did the NodeMon, right? The NodeMon NPM package, is it using to detect changes in the files? Did anyone check the documentation? Your NodeMon was able to restart your server whenever any of the file changes. Am I right or wrong? Yes? No?
Yes, is your screen shared? I can see only a get started page here.
Is it, or it is shared?
Okay.
You are not able to see?
I'm able to see, but I'm able to see only this get started page of VS Code.
Yes, VS Code only I will.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So did anyone check the NodeMon behavior? At least how to detect changes in the files? Can you quickly do that in the Node documentation and let me know?
I checked it once, but there is some change when you install this NodeMon. When you try to run your file node space your app.js, then you have to add this nodemon.app.js.
Yes.
It automatically detects the changes.
Yeah. No. I was asking, how is it able to detect the changes? How NodeMon is able to detect the changes? Obviously, it is using something from the file system only, right?
Okay.
Can you quickly go to their documentation, Node.js documentation, search how to detect changes in the files? Okay. If you get any method, let me know. Also open a new window. This one. Okay. Did anyone get it?
Hello.
Yes.
Use fs watch file.
Yeah, watch file. Okay. So there is a method called watch file. So whenever
Hello. Hello. I'm audible, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you're audible.
yes,
Ma'am,
you are.
ma'am, can you explain once again MCQ first MCQ?
First MCQ, yes. I'll just
Can you
complete this tiny thing and then
explain on whiteboard, ma'am?
yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so there is not buffers. No, just there is the search here. There is something called file system. Watch. Similar to how you have other functions, you have a watch function, which will simply give you, you will have a callback. Okay. and that callback will be executed whenever that file changes. Okay, your nodemon internally uses something of this kind. Okay, yeah. Dheeraj, when we save the file, then automatically, yeah, that is about nodemon, but I was asking what method it is using to detect the file changes. Okay, so that's done. You want me to explain the MCQ? Let me quickly do it. Is my screen visible? So what did we have? The import file, right? The import or main? Okay, index. Okay, index.js, and you have, let me copy and paste that only. So this is the question. Okay. So this is the question. I have two files, index.js and sum.js. So this ES6 module, right? This is ES6 modules, correct? So what it will do is go and fetch all your content from your sum.js. Okay. First, it will try to import all the dependencies. Okay, and then only it will try to execute the function, the index.js file itself. Okay, so when it is doing that one, sum.js will be executed. Okay, so this, when sum.js is executed, obviously it will start from line 1. So this will be the first statement that will be getting printed. Okay, and then you are not executing this sum function, but then exporting it. That's all. I'm done with this function. It will go back again after importing all the external dependencies. It will start executing. Okay, now it will go from the first line. Okay, so console.log running index.js. So this will be the second one, and after that, okay, your console.log sum, or then this will be the third one. All the imported modules are pre-parsed, meaning that would be the first thing it is executing. Got it? Whoever asked, I'm not sure who asked. Yeah. Yes. No. Yes. Okay. Now, coming back to whatever we saw yesterday. This one. Okay. Okay. Any doubts on file streams? Let's not confuse with the other thing. Any doubts with the file streams, guys?
File system and file stream, ma'am. Stream.
Sorry. File streams. File system, the read, write, edit, delete, or make directory.
No.
Did you try renaming a file?
I remember.
Okay, try renaming a file. Yes, basically go through all the methods as much as possible, at least the general ones. Okay, so today, yes, Adit.
fs.rename.
fs.rename. Yes, that's the function. Some will be direct, some will not have a direct name. We will have to find out. But yeah. So for whatever we have seen in the class is enough. Okay, so for the first, at already 25 minutes gone. Okay, no problem. We will try to see streams and buffers, and then more about how express server, how you can do routing, how to handle params, query and path params and all those we will see. Okay, so simple folder. I have a package.json just installed express, but that is not required for. We are going to see streams now. Let's create a simple app.js. Okay, so before that, on the side, please try to install. Okay, try installing Postman. Okay, tomorrow we will be covering if possible today, but try installing Postman inside or after the class today. Probably we will not be seeing that today, but install and keep for tomorrow's class so that you can. So far we have been dealing with only get requests, right? So we can see few examples of put and post as well. So try installing Postman and keep. Okay. Let's go back to our notepad. So we are going to see streams. Okay. So very example would be, let us say I read it in one blog. Okay, so let us say you have bricks. Okay, a pile of bricks, many things. Okay, and you wanted to build a wall out of it. Okay, and you have a friend helping you with moving these bricks, from one place to another. Okay, there are two options. Wait until your friend brings all these brick blocks to your place. Okay, and then you start building this wall. Okay, that's one. Okay, the second option is, as and when, let's say he cannot bring all of them together, right? So he'll bring 5 or 6, carry it and give it to you, and he'll go for the second. Okay, no, he brings 5. Let's for example, let's take he brings 5 bricks, and you start building the block as much as you have. Okay, he'll go for the second round, but you will still start building the wall with whatever you have. Okay, what would be the better approach?
We start building, meanwhile he carries other.
Yes, correct. So that is a better approach because you save time. Okay, it's done faster. One other example would be in tech. Okay, let's say you're watching a movie. Okay, have you seen movies in online streams? Obviously, everyone would have, right? Amazon or Netflix somewhere. Okay, you have a huge 1 GB file. Okay, and you are watching it. Okay, have you seen a loader here, which you will be somewhere here, but you will see a gray shade somewhere going? Have you noticed that? A gray part?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I can also show you. Let me check. Obviously, everyone would have. Okay, if we watch a video. Okay, let this ad go away. Okay. If you, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, the
Yes,
red
ma'am.
is the thing I am watching here. Okay, can you see a gray part here? A gray line just above. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
meaning you are not waiting for the entire video, right? You are not waiting for 1 GB or movie. You are not waiting. Okay, as and when you receive a few parts of, as and when you receive few parts of the data, okay, you are consuming that and you start to watch, right? So that is exact, and that is the reason why they have named that as streaming platforms, right? The basically that is a stream. Okay, so you have a big chunk of file or a big huge file. Okay, and you are not basically waiting for the entire file to load it and then viewing it. Rather, you are getting in small pieces. As and when you receive those small pieces, you are starting to consume it, meaning you are starting to watch it. Okay, so that would be an example for how streams is. Okay, so now we are going to deal with a huge file. Okay, yesterday I told you when we were trying to read a file, read or write a file, okay, what did it return? Okay, whenever I told that, okay, yeah, this part. Okay, when I didn't give this encoding, what did it return?
Buffer.
A buffer.
Yes.
And then since I encoded it, I got it as a string here, right?
Yes.
So that buffer, okay, so that is the content of the file. Okay, basically what I tell you, that is a buffer. Okay, so which has the actual data in your memory, and your buffer is something, the addresses of your data, the actual addresses of data. Okay, this was my buffer with all the addresses which contains hexadecimal numbers. Okay, 00 or 2e something, all hexadecimal digits which are just plain addresses of your memory location. So what can you infer from this? Meaning, can you say that your entire content of my file is loaded in the memory? Okay, and then you are given with the array of address, right or wrong? This is what is happening, right? If I have a sample, the entire content here is loaded in my memory, and then I am given the addresses of that thing. Okay, this is something 1 KB or something of file. Okay, let us say I have not, don't go 1 GB and all. Let us say I have 100 MB. Okay, obviously I have minimum memory would be 8 GB, right? Obviously I can load this entire 500 MB in my memory and then read it from the read stream. But let's say your server, okay, this machine is hit by 10,000 users and each of them are dealing with this much of files. Okay, what will happen if each of them uploads 100 MB? Obviously it will go greater than 8 GB. You will not be able to load entire data in the file memory. Even if it is greater than 10 MB, even 10 MB is something very huge. Okay, loading entire 10 MB of file in the memory and then trying to access it through buffer is something very expensive, and none of them will do it. Okay, it's not just one. Okay, 10 MB, not one people is going to access. Your server is going to be hit by multiple client requests. Correct, I'm not going to give one request. So if I have 10,000 people accessing my website, it's actually 10,000 into 10. Okay, so each of them 10 MB is also costlier. So do you think it would be a better approach to still load it and then serve the files? Yes. Yes or no?
Still, matlab, like,
I was asking, like,
And will you
do you
please
need,
repeat
yeah.
that process once again?
yeah. No, not process, ma'am, not total. Actually, what was your question? I want to.
Okay, question you don't understand. Adil, what was you asking?
Ma'am, repeat again.
Okay, repeat the question. I was asking, do you think like I need to store this entire MB similar to how
Okay.
you handled small files, right? I just put all the content of my file in the memory and then returned a buffer and containing the addresses. Do you think I can follow the same process with 10 MB files? Or let's take a huge file, 500 or 200 MB files. Obviously, your music or your audio files and all are huge, right? So, do you think the same approach will be followed? Obviously not, right? You
Yeah,
cannot do that. You cannot store that much of a huge data in your memory at one particular time. You can actually, if I am not wrong, task manager, right? You can go and try to read some huge file in the task manager and then check. Okay, so this is the activity monitor. In Windows, go and check for task manager. You will see the node server running somewhere if you have the server up. Okay, let me show that. Let us go and run this. So my server is up. Let me try to find that. Should be inside VS Code. Okay. Can you see node processes running? Okay, only one should be there for you all. I don't know if there is any parallel node thing running here, but yeah, if you try to upload any file, no, this immediately the time, the space, CPU percentage, or the memory actually it uses, right? You can go and check. This will be increased to your file size itself. Okay, you can go and check, try reading a huge file and then check the memory. Okay, it will immediately go away. Okay, so try to check that. Okay, so meaning you are trying to load that entire data in the memory, so that is, we don't want that. So we are going to create a stream. Okay, we are going to create a stream similar to how you are receiving bits and pieces of a video, right? Bits and pieces of a video you are receiving in your browser. Similar to that, in my code, I am going to read this file and I am going to get the data in small chunks. Okay, I'm going to create a stream, and through that stream, I am going to send small chunks of data. And inside that, inside my app.js, I am going to try to read this chunk, whatever I have read from the file. Understood what stream is? This each chunk which I am telling about is nothing but a buffer of data. Okay. Small buffer, by default it is 64 KB. Okay, buffer default size is 64 KB, I think, but it might change depending on the implementation of node servers. But yeah, buffer, you can also change it using option parameters and all. We will see later. Okay, but by default, this buffer is of a particular size, and you will receive these chunks of data in terms of buffer, similar to how you received yesterday, right? You encoded it. You received a buffer, you encoded it to UTF-8, right? So this is only one time you are getting the data. Okay, if you create a stream, you will get multiple chunks similar to this, and you can use that chunk of data only. Instead of waiting for the entire file to be read, okay, you are reading a part of the file and then consuming it, meaning using it. Have you seen conveyor belts?
Yes.
something. Yeah, there will be a wheel and you will have a belt and you can pass packages, right? So think of conveyor belt as a stream. Okay, so these are all buffers. Okay, whatever you are putting in the belt and then sending, okay, the small packages, okay, these are called buffers where you can get that data from. Understood the theory part of what streams are, what buffers are?
So sometimes what happens, video gets stuck while playing, while streaming. So what we say is that video is buffering. So does
Yeah,
it mean
correct.
that it is waiting for the buffers to receive because of the lower
Yes,
internet connectivity?
correct. There might be a speed, right? So let's say there's one thing I'm reading something and your server is writing, right? I might read in a much faster way. Okay, I have a good internet connection, so I'm reading it in a much faster way, meaning I'm viewing the video in the normal speed. Okay, but server is not able to send me buffers in the same speed. So what happens, you will somehow meet at a point where you didn't receive the buffer yet and you are trying to read that. So that's the reason earlier days when the internet was not that fast, we used to have buffers and all, right? So that's why we term it as buffering. Yeah, correct. Any doubts on the theory part? Can we go to the implementation? Everyone? Yes? No?
Yes.
Any answers? Okay. So, okay. So I have taken a sample file. I have just downloaded it. This is about 100 MB. Okay. You have 1 GB of files also. I don't want to demonstrate that and spoil my laptop, but yeah. Okay, so let us try to do whatever we did yesterday. Okay, I will not receive it like this, but yeah. Okay, so I have imported the file module, and one other thing is you need not each time need not import the entire module and then write read file or write file. Have we learned destructuring? Have we learned
Yes.
destructuring? Yes. So just ask whatever you wanted. Let's use read thing only. Is my server started? No. Okay. Let's stop this. So I'm just trying to print it's a buffer, right? It's a buffer. So I'm just trying to print the first one, else my system will crash. Okay. So let's, okay, let us try to run. Hopefully nothing should happen. But okay, it's reading. Okay, 100 MB. Okay, but it's trying to do it quickly. Maybe try with 300 or 400 MB. It will take delay. And then the content is something very huge. If you see, opening a file itself take a second or two, right? Again, closing also will do the same. I'm trying to open, it's taking a second and then rendering. It's just 100 MB of file. So it's doing fast, but obviously 300, 400 and all, it will take time to read it. Okay, so obviously this is a huge file, and if you try to see the activity log, right, this one, this is huge. already occupying that much of memory. I'm not sure if this is the process, but yeah, the data, all those data would be huge and it will occupy most of your memory. Okay, now this is only 100 MB. Okay, now let us go to use, let us try to create a stream first and then try to use, read it chunk by chunk. Okay, so let us comment this. Now, similar to read file sync, okay, you have create read stream. Okay, I'm going to use that function. Okay. Okay. So first we will have to create this stream. Let's name it as read stream. Okay, and then use this create read stream one. Okay, create read stream one. And then if you see here, same yesterday, whatever we saw, right? Path options are not mandatory, so I'm not going to use it. Okay, but if you see in the options, I told you, right? It's 16 readable, the stream returned by this as a default. Yes, if you see here, this is one create read stream and there is another package called stream itself. So that has a default of 16 KB, it seems, the each chunk, right? I told you buffer size will have some threshold, right? More than that, it cannot accommodate. Okay, so the default size is 64 KB each buffer. People will tend to reduce even 64 KB and have it around 16 or like that only, because even 64 KB, you know, it can be reduced. Okay, so if you wanted to reduce the default buffer size, you will use this high watermark option. Okay, for now let's see only reading it by chunk and then we will see other examples. Okay, so I wanted to read this. So mention the file name dot slash this text file. Okay, and here also you have encoding. You can either mention in options or you can simply mention in quotes like UTF-8. This will also work. Okay, simply comma and then mention the encoding here. Now, this is a read. I have created the stream, but I need to read, right? I need to read each chunk. Okay, so what are event listeners in DOM?
Your voice is breaking.
My voice is breaking.
Your
Is
previous
it for
voice.
everyone? Is it for everyone, guys? Or
It's okay.
okay, yeah, let me know if it is breaking again. Okay, so I was asking, what are event listeners in browsers? Like we have already seen event listeners. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
What are event listeners?
Any event happening, can be a click, can be mouse over, can be file load.
Yeah, so that is in with respect to your DOM, right? Whenever any action, any event occurs in your DOM, okay, whatever you have added, if you have added click or if you have added hover, okay, all those events, when they are triggered, that particular callback will be executed. Yeah, so I don't have DOM here. Okay, I don't have DOM. I don't have event listeners in Node because I don't have DOM. But here also, with respect to Node's runtime, okay, this is the Node runtime, and you have the JS engine, right? So this streams and all, you know, you also have events in Node runtime as well. Okay, where you can add this event listeners and all. Okay, but not to the DOM. Okay, because we don't have DOM here. But this read stream, okay, this read stream is an event, right? So it has multiple events. First, it will open. Okay, it will read some data. Okay, there might be some error on closing. there, sorry, not error, there might be some event which can be triggered on closing, and there might be some event triggered on error. We can have these certain events, right? Since it is a stream, you don't know when these and all will happen. Okay, it will happen in an async way, but you can add callbacks. Okay, so that whenever this particular event occurs, your Node.js will run the callback, whatever you have given. But its stream is, there is something called event emitters, similar to event listeners. You have something called event emitters in Node.js, which we will see later. But just know that this read streams internally uses this event emitters to handle all these events. For example, I have showed you that open, read, close, error. All these are events with respect to the read stream, right? If you take a write stream, there might be events for particular write itself. Obviously, open and close are common. Error is also common. After writing, you can have a event, right? So for each of these streams, you can have certain events associated to that, and you can give some callback to it, saying do this whenever this open event occurs. Okay, similar to how we give a callback, okay, and tell that whenever a click event occurs, trigger this callback. Okay, you will give a callback, and whenever this click event occurs, trigger this part of it. Right, so that is how event emitters, event listeners worked in DOM. Similarly, your read stream also has certain events to which you can associate a callback to execute. Clear? Let us try to read, add open event to this read stream and try to execute it. Got it? So how do you add event listeners in browser?
Add event listener.
Yes,
On.
add event listener, right? So similarly, you have something called here on. Okay, if you go and see the thing, can you see here event and the listener, similar to how you have events click or hover event in your add event listener method? You also have to mention the event and the listener, meaning the callback, whatever you wanted to execute. For sample, they have given close. Okay, let's try to implement that. If you see here, these are the multiple events you have: end, close, date, open, pause, readable. Okay, whenever a read stream is paused, that callback will be executed. I'll tell you how to pause and all, but yeah, we will see. Now let us try to add an event listener to the open event. Console.log. Okay, can we try to add one for close as well? Close is again an event. Okay, probably the server has already ended before it closed, so it is not working. Then I'll have to add an express server to make it running itself. Okay, so the why it is not happening is, oh, your file is opened and my program is done executing, right? So your server is stopped. So if I wanted to keep it running before your file is getting closed, your server is stopped. That's the reason it's happening here. Okay, so I'll try to demonstrate this close close event, but this is how you do it. You mention the event and then you give the callback to it, saying whatever you wanted to do when that particular event happened. Okay, so open and close is one thing, but the main objective of using read stream is to read particular chunks, right? Read what the data, whichever it read, right? So you have another event dot on Can anyone of you tell me what is the event? Some of you know already this one. What is the event?
Ma'am, what it will do, so we can guess that.
Open, close. Okay. What
Data.
it will do? Yeah, we have data event here, right? I think people from other batch should know. Okay. Please get interactive, like unmute yourself and please answer. It will keep the class alive. Okay. So there is this event called data. Okay. So now, again, this is a callback, which will, okay, if you go and, so obviously it is a callback. If it is a data event, you should be receiving the data, right? So that would be the first parameter. Okay, now if I try to print console.log data, if you let me run this, you will see multiple things running. Okay, it is simply reading the content of my file and it is trying to print chunk by chunk. It will stop only it's done executing. Okay, understood how I am reading the entire file and then doing it. Every time a chunk of data is received, this callback will be executed. Okay, it will be immediately printed. Can you see file closed here? It's done with parsing your entire file and then it is calling this file close callback. No matter in which order I give, okay, no matter, these are event listeners, right? These are not going to be executed immediately. Similar to how we have click, hover and all in DOM, no matter in what order you give, this callback will be executed only when this event is triggered. What the whole idea of streams, use of it? Now, if you see in my memory, only the default is 64, right? So 64 KB of data only will be loaded in the memory and you will be given the buffer. Since you have encoded it, you are getting the string. Okay, if you see here, string or buffer, right? Since I have encoded it, if you have not encoded it, you will get it as a buffer array itself. Okay, so only 64 KB will be loaded in my memory. Once you are done reading it, it will again go and load the another 64 KB of data. Understood? Any doubts on how your stream is working?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, if the file stream has beyond that 64 KB, then what will be happen?
File stream. See, my file is actually 100 MB. Okay, I can show you this. Can you see how huge the file is?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I am not trying to read. Let me show the file size. If you see here, the size of this is 100 MB. Okay, but my buffer is only how much? Is only 64 KB. Correct. The question which you are asking is how will it handle if it is greater than 64 KB? Is it?
Sir, ma'am, in buffer, the data can be split up into a 64 KB.
The buffer, the data can be split into
64 KB or
no, I don't get it, but let's see if I understood correctly. Okay, so this is an 100 MB of file. Okay, there is a stream created already. Okay, and this is my app.js file, which is trying to read the content. Okay, your buffer size is only 64 KB. Okay, First, it will read 64 KB from this file. Okay, once you done reading it, it will go and ask for the next 64 KB will come. So at a time in my memory, only 64 KB of data will be stored. Other than that, I won't read more data. Once my buffer is full, think of buffer like this. Okay, so it will keep on loading data. Okay, so once it's full, okay, it will not load more, and then it will try to pass that chunk to your file. Okay, then your buffer would be emptied, and then it will try to again load. So once it's full, again it will try to pass. You will try to read that. So there is no scenario where your size you will exceed loading more than your buffer size, right? So you cannot load data more than your buffer sizes. Correct, Abhishek. It does not matter if the file is 100 MB or 2 GB. Correct. We will get the data chunk by chunk only, meaning at a time you can only read 64 KB. I'll also show that. Yeah, I'll also show that one particular chunk alone. But this is how a general stream you would write it in your code to read huge files. Understood? Any doubts?
Ma'am, we have a end event, right?
End event.
Yeah. And we have a close event. What are the difference between them?
Why don't we do it? I think end is something before close, once your file content is ended. But let me check. End and then
Because ma'am, like most of cases, we have used and we never use close, so that's why.
got it. I believe your close should be before end, because once your data is done, reading it. Let's say you wanted to do something after reading my data, but before closing it, unmute yourself. Okay. Let's say you wanted to do something after reading the data, but before closing it. Okay. Something in between you wanted to do with the content of the file, or you wanted to add something to the file, you can do it at that particular moment. But let's check. It should take 5 or 6 seconds, but yeah. Okay, I have told about data, close, and yeah, there are multiple events again, pause event and all. Yes, I will show you that. Okay, now let us see how, let us try to add a set timeout. Everyone knows set timeout? Yeah. So if you see here, Prague, end is something before closing, just immediately before closing your file. I've done reading the data, but I have not yet closed the file. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So let us have a set timeout. Okay. So set timeout, I can have a first callback and then mention the seconds, right? Let's say after 3 seconds, stop reading my file. So now only if it is ended, only if it is done reading the file, it is stopped, right? Let's say I don't want to do that. I just wanted to read a part of a file. Okay, and then pause it. Obviously, you cannot define that part and all here. Okay, we can check the length and all using this buffer. How much data it has read so far, that and all we can check. But for now, let's take the example of 3 seconds. If I wanted to pause this reading thing after 3 seconds, you can simply put read stream dot pause. Okay, now if I try to run, it should be stopped. Okay. Do you see it stopped before closing or before ending is being printed? It's just stopped before after 3 seconds. It stopped executing. Understood how to pause it in between? Any doubts? Let us say after pause, let us say I wanted to read it. After pausing, again after 5 or 3 seconds, I wanted to again start it. Read stream dot resume. If there is a stop pause, there should be resume, right? So now if I try to run, it will stop after 3 seconds. You will wait for 3 seconds. Again, I have a timer, right? And again, it will resume. Did you see that minute delay of 3 seconds in between? Yes, let me stop it. Okay. Understood? Pause and resume. Let us say I don't want to read all the chunk of data and all. I just, instead of having a callback of every time to print, I just, after pausing, I just wanted to read only the next chunk only. Okay, I have paused in between. Now I just wanted to read the immediate chunk. Okay, do not continue reading. Okay, do not continue the stream and keep on receiving the chunk. But I would, excuse me. Okay, let's say I have I paused in between and I have a few more data to be read. Let's say I have 5 chunks. Now if I resume, all those 5 chunks will be read, right? Again, this event will be triggered. But I just wanted to read the next immediate chunk only. Okay, meaning chunk by chunk. I don't want to resume it. So instead of doing resume, pause this and use read stream dot just read. Okay. Now if you go and save this, it will just give you the next immediate chunk. It will just read the next immediate chunk. Okay, let us try to see that. Pause for 3 seconds and then you will see only one chunk. See, only one chunk is printed and then it stopped. Right? Understood how you can read? You can still, keep on repeating it. It will read the manual way of, getting individual chunk. Okay, rather than having a callback and then triggering all the data, getting it all the data, automatically using this event. Manual way of getting each chunk is by using this dot read method. Understood? Any doubts? Let us try to, probably I cannot do it, encoding and this. Encoding UTF-8 and then high watermark. Correct. I told you that it is 64. Let us change it to 8 or let's change it to 1. Try to do it. Let's try to see the amount of data it's trying to fetch. Pause. Okay. Can you see only a small paragraph is read? No, with this size, I can only read this much. Okay. Till the 5, no, it was pause. After pause, did you check the, let me comment this as well. Okay. Try to read. Let's have 2 seconds. We'll read for 2 seconds. You see here, it stopped here only. Okay. Next read was so small that only I have just reduced my buffer size by using this high watermark. That's all. Okay. Before it was 64 KB, it was giving me a huge chunk. Okay. Now I have just reduced the chunk size using this high watermark. Yeah. Yes, you can go on exploring what are the different things here. See auto close if there is any error or flags and all. Flags yesterday did we see what flags are? it has a default mode of R, only read. Okay. And it will also give you error. There are modes like R plus, RX and all. I showed you yesterday in the documentation. Yeah, so that is flags. End and all, I believe more to do with when to end, all sort of things. Yes, you can check in the documentation, but people know if you are reading the file entirely, only you will want to read it. Unless and until you are sure about the data of the file, you definitely want to read the entire file only. The uses of the other parameters would be lesser, but this high watermark is something you should know to reduce your default buffer size.
What is the
Understood?
practical use of this?
Okay, good question. As I told, in your applications, you will have to generate logs. Right? Logging is something a very important one. You know, whenever a user is trying to access your files, right? Sorry, access your server. Okay, you will have to log it somewhere in a file format, saying these are the actions that has been happening. So whenever that, you can use a write stream for that. Okay, for read
Logging.
stream,
Sorry,
read.
can you please explain the logging ones? What's the logs?
Okay, logging meaning, let's say I have a server. Let's say you go and visit google.com. Have you seen activity in Google account?
Hmm.
Can you see what are the websites you have visited? All this being stored.
Correct.
Okay, so that is something they have stored in order to show you. Okay, in order to show the what all activities you have done. They have done it as a feature itself. But generally, every server will implement something called logging. So they will have an internal log file to give all the data, whatever you performed. Right? If you try to log in, they'll have a file having all your login time, what action you performed, when you log in, and what are the data you gave. All those will be there. Data, obviously, if it is a smaller data, they would be giving added in the log file. But the timing, all what actions you did, what are the errors your system faced, right? Let's say you have an error here somewhere, you must not only show the user that it is an error, you should also log it somewhere, so you will be able to enhance your system to just check that logs and then further correct it, like improve your system as well. So if you just give it to the user that it is an error, how will you be able to reproduce it? By reproduce, I mean how will you able to check that error if you don't have a log of what is happening? So every application logging is something very important. Okay, so with that only you can check errors, you can find errors and all those things. Okay, so that is something you can implement write stream with. Reading, as I said yesterday, right? Let us say I have a college website. Okay, and as and when people come to your college after enrolling, you wanted to add those in your data. Is it better to keep on adding each one in the application? Okay, to do multiple clicks, or to just simply give you an Excel file? Okay, if I give, obviously they will have a file. Okay, if you give, if your application is provided with a file, you should be able to read the content of the file and then add it in your database. But if people will migrate from different applications to your application, let's say you're migrating from enterprise applications, you will have practical use case. But let's say you are migrating from WhatsApp to Telegram, you want all the data to be there as well, similar tool, so you wanted to migrate. Okay, so all the applications will have this feature. Okay, let's say you are migrating from no WhatsApp to Telegram only. Let's say you wanted to have all the data which you have in WhatsApp. Okay, so if it is a similar application, obviously few data point would be similar and you wanted to have those data. Okay, do you think it's practically possible for you to go and add it in your database? Like Obviously, WhatsApp would give you a file containing all the data and you wanted to import in your system. If you export and import of data, right, when your user, when the application, when what your Telegram should do is accept this files which whatever your user gave, read that file and then add it to its database. Right or wrong? This is how you can do. Got it? Imran, got it? Not there in the call.
Yeah, it's clear.
So one thing which I am currently working on, that the people are making transactions in PayPal, right? So there would be logs of transactions. So I am working in a team, in a project which is used by the risk and review analyst, right? So there might be similar dispute cases and all. Okay, there might be multiple issues that the customer have raised, that the risk and review team have to go through each of these cases and then decide accordingly. Obviously, there are some automated systems, but not all cases, not all fraud cases can be handled by that automated system. So some cases will be reverted back for manual review. So we have people in the position of risk analyst. So they will be using a tool to analyze all the transactions, all the activities performed by the user or someone else who's accessing the account. Okay, so we will have to give the data in the application itself. Okay, in the application, I can load only transactions for, if it is a customer account, let's say you and I are having a PayPal account, I will do a maximum of 5 to 10 transactions in a day. But what happened if it is a merchant account? Okay, a merchant, there are multiple transactions they are using. So for a day, Uber and all are huge customers, and they are having, for a day itself, like millions of transactions. Okay, even if I try to do it in the application view, okay, we have, obviously you cannot load the entire data in the same page and then show it to the user, right? You will be showing only 100 thing. I'll show the first 100 thing. If it is, if the user wants to view the next also, they'll have to click a button and then go to next thing. Okay, this is in terms of application, right? But just to view the transactions of one single day, okay, if they have 10 millions of transactions, or like let's say 1,000 transactions performed in one single day in a merchant account. Okay, so they wanted to view all the transactions in a day, and they cannot be simply clicking that next button every time. Okay, it's time consuming. Instead, they wanted to import it in an Excel file and then view it. So what I wanted to do, read my data in the database, write it to a file. Okay, the huge transaction list. Okay, this is not just the amount. Okay, each transaction will have huge data, like what time it performed, who went, who gave, who received it, what is the location, all those will be there in the transaction. Okay, the entire data I'll have to give it them as a file so that it's easier for them to process it. Okay, day to day production system is doing it. Okay, got it? Yeah, so this is something, yeah, files you'll have to know, you'll have to read, write, all this basic operations you'll have to know. Maybe not in your personal projects, because obviously we will not be dealing with huge data and all. Okay, but it's also a good thing to implement as a feature itself. Let's say you have a student portal, or let's say you have Attenue portal also. So let's say you can have a button to import all my marks, right? There might be a feature like that. That is the reason of handling with files. Yes. Any other doubts with why? Yeah, the right stream is just the same. Okay. Already 10:20. Let's see right stream example. Any doubts, guys? Any other doubts? No? Yes? Any answers?
No, ma'am, no doubt.
Okay, okay. Now let's see. Let me comment. Yes. Yes, Swapnil?
No, ma'am, no doubt.
Hold on. Okay. Let me show you the write stream and then piping of read and write as well. Okay, so we don't have huge data. I will show you how to copy this content of this file to another file. Okay, but let's see how write stream works. Just the syntax is different, everything else is same. Create write stream. Is equal to what? Create write stream. Okay, obviously you will have to give the path name. Let's just say a new file dot write stream dot write. You will be adding chunk of data only, right? It is a stream. You can simply add individual chunks. Okay, you can have it in a variable. Let's say I have a variable data, write stream example. Okay, and I simply, let's consider this as to be a chunk, and I'm simply passing that chunk to be written. Okay, you can also have another parameter. If you can see here, another callback function. If there is any error in writing, console.log error in data. Once all, you can do this multiple times, right? You can add chunk by chunk data, right? Okay, you can do this multiple, as many times, as many chunk you have, as many times you can keep on writing it. So once you are done writing it, you can end it. Can we try to execute this one? Yes. End is not a function. What is end? Sorry, write stream dot end. Can you see 2 times error? Error. Can you think what would be the reason? Can you think of what would be the reason? I am getting error only both the times.
You have given their error.
These are, yes, these are, no, I have only if it's an error. Let's see if it's written. Yeah, it's written because I have printed this callback error. What I'll have to do is, if error, then print this. Okay, that should be the change. Now it should not print because there's no errors in print in writing it. Let us say, let us have a set interval. Set interval. So every second you should be writing the time. Okay, let us assume that should be the scenario, and let me give this insight. So write data I wanted to write. Okay. The current time, similar to how you have date function, you also have date function here. New date dot to local time string. Now, if I try to run it, I will get error. Can you try to reason this? What would be the reason now the error is being printed?
No, ma'am, I didn't get.
Okay, so now if you see here, every time I'm trying to print this time, okay, on set interval, what will it do? Okay, it will execute the same callback after with an interval of 1 second, right? So it's trying to write some data, that is the time data, okay, current time. Okay, it is trying to write it, but every time it is trying to execute it, I get an error while writing it. So now because I didn't check it, that's the reason error got printed. But now what should be the reason? After every second, only error is being printed.
Yes,
What should
ma'am,
be the
actually,
reason?
I didn't get it.
You didn't get the reason of it. Okay. Any
Yes,
others?
why error are printed?
Yes, why error? Why I am getting error now? I'm not doing anything wrong here. Can you just check this lines?
Why you use dollar symbol like
Set interval, is it a synchronous process or an async process?
async process?
Async process, right? So this will be an async way, but immediately it will go into line 57 and it will end. Okay, you are and meaning you are done writing it. Okay, you told your stream that I'm done writing it. So after 1 second, when I try to write it, my file is not even open. When once I told that it is ended, then you will get error only, right? So now if I try to remove this end thing, now it should work. Okay, can we go and check? It's not stopped because I haven't stopped the server. It's keep on executing this one. Can you see here being printed? Okay, let us go and change one other thing. Let me go and add next line here, \n, so that every time it's printed in a new line. Okay, I'll go back and come. Can you see? For every second it's printing something.
Yes, ma'am.
If you keep the file open, it will not show you. Okay, go to other files and then come back, you can see the changes. For every second it is writing. Okay, your log files will be something similar to this. Okay, you can log in whatever the data it is, and it will also log in the time what the user is performing. Okay, so understood how to work with write streams.
Why we were getting error before?
Why are we not?
Why we were getting error before?
I didn't get error now. This is the first time. Oh, you are asking me why am I getting error that time? What we did is, this is an async process. Okay, Swapnil, this is an async process. Okay, so this will not be executed. This callback will not be executed immediately. It will immediately move after it sees an async process. It will go to line 57. Okay, earlier I had this. Okay, I told the write stream that it is, I am done writing, so end it. Okay, I have called this end function. So before even this callback is being executed, that is after 1 second, before even the callback is being executed, I have already told the write stream that I am done writing. Okay, all my writing part is done. Okay, you have called this end function. So which means method signals that no more data will be returned to the file. I have told this stream that no more data I have. Okay, so after 1 second, when this callback is being executed, obviously you have already told, right, that I have no more data. So it will not allow you to write that. That is the reason you are getting an error here, and every time after 1 second, an error was printed.
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So generally you will not do it in a set interval and all. Okay, whenever a API call is hit, you will have a stream and then keep on writing it. Others, any doubts? Okay. So now what can you think of when I say I wanted to copy the content of this 100 MB file and then write it to my write stream file? How do you think is it possible? Can you think with this, with the approach which we already saw itself, you should be able to figure out?
We have to
Like
link.
the read
Hmm?
stream on data, we can copy as soon as the data is readable.
Correct. I have a read stream. I have a data receiving on every chunk. So I have a data here. So let me copy this one. Let us comment, let it be here. Let's copy this write stream alone. Have it in the first line. Okay. So instead of console logging it, why can't I write stream dot write and give the data which I receive? I can do this, right? But this is something very brute force solutions and all, right? Like an immediate solution which kicks in, like very naive approach. Okay, there are better way to handle it. When this is a stream and this is also a stream, think of, you know, individual lines. Why don't I link it through a pipe? Okay, immediately whatever I read, why don't I link it to a write stream? Okay, pipe it so that the data which is coming from read stream automatically goes into the write stream. There is a function for that as well. Instead of doing it in this way, this will also work, no errors, nothing. This will also work. Okay, so instead of doing it in this way, you can simply tell read stream dot, can you see pipe here? Pipe and then give write stream. Now if I try to run, see it will take few seconds, okay, to read and write and all. Now if I go to write, stop, okay, done. Stuck. Can you see the content of my old file is being copied in write stream? Think of it as, okay, this is a read stream, right? You have few buffers here. So think this pipe feature, okay, similar to how your pipe would be. Okay, this is a write stream. Okay, since instead of you parsing the data and then adding it manually, this pipe function, you know, will help you to just put whatever data you read into your write stream. Okay, understood? Any doubts on, see, you can also nest, you know, you can also use another pipe here. Okay, you can also see, I read once. Let's say I wanted to copy it to 2 files. Okay, why should I read it again? Not necessary, right? I can also have file 2 here, something like this. Okay, and then use the same thing, read stream dot pipe. Meaning it will read once but write it to both of these files. Instead of reading twice and then writing twice, right? Instead of reading it and writing twice, it will read once and then simply through this pipe, it will also write it to your file 2. Understood? Any doubts? Any doubts with read stream, write streams? Pipe of parse. If you see the method definition, pipe will accept write stream only. Okay, whatever thing you are giving inside pipe should be a write stream. make sure your parse function is returning a pipe stream. Okay, Prag?
Okay.
Yeah. You only write stream, it will accept. Also, so go check documentation. Yes, it's only write stream. Okay, so you can use multiple functions here. This parse function also you can use, but make sure that parse function is returning write stream only. Then it will fail.
Okay.
Any other doubts? Can we proceed with to next concept? One other thing is we saw read stream, write stream, right? So this is an example of read stream, and this is you will have a buffer. This is there is two other streams called duplex stream, where you will have a separate buffer for read and write, but you can do that in the same stream itself. For both reading and writing, you can use that stream. Yes, both of this is read buffer and this is a write buffer. Both are independent. Okay. But the stream is same stream, but you can use it for both reading and writing. There's another thing called transform streams, where again, similar to duplex, you have a read buffer, you also have a write buffer, but these two are somewhat connected to each other. Okay, by connection meaning you can read and you can transform it to a write buffer and then read it to a write buffer and all. Yeah, this is, have you heard about WebSockets?
Like establishing connection between client and server.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Socket.
correct. Yeah, so WhatsApp and all messaging system. Okay, HTTP request and all, if you see here, only if you send the request, okay, only if you send the request, you will receive the response, right or wrong? This is the behavior. Unless and until you send the request to the server, you will not receive the response. By magic, you will not be receiving some response. Okay, you will have to send the request first and then only it will. But WhatsApp, no, every time a message is being received to you, do you see immediately it is popping up?
Yes,
There
ma'am.
are multiple ways, to implement the WhatsApp feature itself. You can, if you have learnt about few designing and all, multiple ways to insert. But the very general way to, send and receive data is through WebSockets. Okay, think of it as a connection where you can also send data and the server also can send you data, meaning not as a response way, but even without you requesting it for some data, the response can send you data. That is how you are able to receive images. Sorry, that is how
Like
you are able to receive messages instantly. Okay, in your mobile server is keeping on sending the messages when you are in online. Okay, there is a WebSocket behind. Yeah, that is and all using a duplex stream only.
like as soon as the new data is available, the server will
Yes,
send.
correct. As soon as a new message is coming to your phone, you will not go and send a request to receive that message. Instead, through WebSocket, it will send you, because as I said, through duplex streams, you can read and write as well. So meaning you can send and then receive as well. So without internally, it's using duplex stream only. But let's not go to the implementation, it will get complex. But yeah, let's stick with this read and write, and then this pipe should be enough. Yes, if you have interest, I'll link through articles. Okay, you can go and explore more about this and all. But yeah, this should be reading and writing from a file, and then that should be enough. Any other concepts you wanted? No, sorry. Any other doubts with respect to streams? See, buffers, again, don't think that I haven't covered as a separate thing. This data is a buffer. Okay, I have encoded it and then I am writing it as, because only streams will be using buffers internally. Okay, if you wanted to create buffers, you can also do it. Const buff, which is equal to, similar to how you create other stuffs, right? New buffer. So this buffer will contain, you can either give a string, which internally it will try to put it in memory and then give you the address. Else you can give hexadecimal values 1, 2, 3. If it is more than 13, it will convert it to a hexadecimal. Let's try to print this and show. Let me try to print this and show. Block buff. Can you see 0, 0? 0, 2 is the value I gave. 13, obviously, it's hexadecimal notation. It will try to convert it. Okay, you can have only numbers from, denoting from 0 to 225. Okay, so you will most probably not using it. Okay, creating a buffer and then adding it, it is just, your streams will be using it to have memory locations of your actual data. Got it? So this is how you create buffer, check its length. See here you're receiving the data, right? If you have not encoded it, you will receive a buffer. You can check the length of the buffer internally. Inside this, let me uncomment it. Inside this, if it is not a buffer, you can check it similar to how you check data for strings. Okay, you can check with length. Buffer has length, so it will give you what's the length, current length and all. Just know that it is just a raw data which is referring to the memory address, a temporary storage kind of a thing. Can we go to routing? Everyone?
Like
Yes.
create and read, we can only use by .txt file, or we can read or write any format of file like PDF
Good
and all.
question. Good question. Go to npm manager. See, you can read, but the format which you expect the data, right? Here it is plain text files. I am getting it as a data only, plain data. Okay. So this, if it is an Excel file or a CSV file, the format of the data would be different. It is not just plain strings. If it is an Excel file, you cannot simply parse the file. It will be rows and columns. So your stream and all will not be able to understand that. It will simply convert and you will not get the actual data itself. You will try to get some irregular data. Okay, for that, you have different packages to handle everything. You can go, if it is a CSV file, you have CSV parts, I believe. See, there are multiple libraries to handle specific things. Okay, see, still you can do it, but your stream will not be able to understand the format of the data. So you will have to handle it using any of the open source packages. Okay, if it is a CSV file, install this. So in the package itself, they'll tell you how to use it, how to, on reading and all, how to work with that package. They'll tell you, simply use the package. Okay, if it is an Excel file, I think select parser. Okay, you see node parser Excel files. To build and read and write Excel files, you can use this. Just make sure that it is Node.js module, meaning it's supported in the version which you are using it. Simply install this package and you can just read it. See, same stream it's using, but just because you are using this excel.parse, it is trying to give you a better readable data when you are dealing with Excel. If you are dealing with PDF, again, that also, just make sure that there might be multiple packages. Okay, make sure that the number of downloads are greater, so you can rely on that. So see, this and all don't use. Better one. Okay, see the how many people are using it and how good it is, and then use the popular one, as simple as that. Okay.
As I'm getting an idea, this is the how Amazon and other websites use for generating invoices, creating
No.
PDF file.
See, this is a third party package. Okay, someone has written that for you, and you are using in your personal project.
No, PDF. Sorry, I'm talking about the FS right and
Yes,
like.
streams. You create node streams using that only. No, what the format of your data, how to deal with the format of the data, you can use these packages and deal with it. But the data, actual data, is through these streams only.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably in the Saturday class, or no, I will try to use other files and show you the demo.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. If you just go and see this itself, they are still using read file sync only. But you are using this package and then you are calling this method. So this method does something for you and then gives you all the information. See, they give you a data of the pages, rendered pages, the actual info of the data, and all those things. This is to parse PDF. If you simply try to read PDF, try to load PDF and try to print the data here, you will not be seeing the exact data what you are expecting.
Yeah.
You will have to parse it somehow to understand it. So there are multiple packages for you to explore. Yeah. Okay. Can we go to query params? 15 minutes more. I'll just give you a brief introduction of what query params are. Query params and path params. Okay. So you have already worked on the CC for routing. Probably a simple one, everyone. Yes or no? No? On the first day you had, right? Any answers? Am I audible?
Yeah. Can you repeat?
Yeah, I was asking, did you do any CC on the routing? Meaning on this particular path, a particular thing should be, yes, sure. Thanks. Yeah. So let us say, I don't know why the text thing is not working. Okay. Let us say it's https dot amazon.in. Let's go back. That's my browser. Okay, let's check this itself. So this is my URL, right? Okay. So this is the URL. Okay. So what is this HTTPS means? Protocol, right? So what is this part?
Domain.
Domain or host? Yeah, domain. Okay. After search / you have, and then what is this part? Before question mark. This part is called path. Okay. The exact path, if you wanted to go to home page, or if you wanted to go to search page, or if you wanted to get the list of customers, or if you wanted to get the list of products available in my application. Okay, this is the path you will mention. So anything after the question mark, okay, after the question mark are called what? We already saw this in the HTML class. What are these called? Anyone?
Query.
Query.
These are called query params, query parameters. Okay. Query parameters are nothing but key value pairs. If you see here Q, which is equal to PDF space, this is just a placeholder for space. Okay. So Q equal to some text. Okay. Similarly, when we build HTML form and then try to submit it, did you see something like question mark name equal to the text and then age equal to some numbers which you gave in the input? Remember the first class in HTML forms? So these are just key value pairs which are separated by ampersand. Okay, so now there are two keys here. Name is a query param. Again, age is a query param. Okay, anything after question mark are called query params. Okay, meaning I am giving you some data to query it. Okay, if it is a get call, I'm telling you go and give me the query param Q. Okay, go and search for data called PDF parser. I'm giving you some input. I'm giving some input to the server. Okay, so we are going to see how you can fetch those data in the server. You need to access these data, right? In your Express server. If my request is this URL, I need to know what is the path, right? I need to know what is the path that the user is requesting for and what are the query params that the user is asking for. Yes or no? I wanted to know these in order to serve the client with data. Correct? So we are going to see how can I access these data in my Express server. Okay, quickly let me add one other file. Express.json, sorry, not JSON, JS. Okay, on day 2 we have a server already. Let me Control A, copy and paste it. Okay, so this is a simple server. You need not end it, send will do it automatically for you. Okay, clear? Simple server. Okay, I'm listening in port 8000. Okay, let me start this. Port./express.js. Okay, my server is started. So my server is running. Okay, let us say I am hitting the URL, /users. Okay, cannot get users because you did not handle that. Now this is the path which I talked about. Okay, so this part you will have to handle it in your Express server in order to tell that. So since I have not handled it for users path, it is throwing me this error. This one cannot get users. If I go and access for students, it is giving me a response because I have handled that in my server. Okay, you will have to handle for every path you have here. Okay, this is path. So let's say if you have some path like let's say it's an ID. Okay, so now if I stop it, now if I go and ask for just students, can you see cannot get? Can you see cannot get here? Because I am only handling it for students /1. Okay, now my previous path is gone. This is a new path. So this will just try to match exactly. Only if it matches exactly, only if the path matches exactly, this part will be executed. Else it will give an error, throw an error. So obviously there, let's say categories. Okay, there might be multiple categories, like multiple things in the categories. That might be electronics, there might be clothing, there might be furnitures. right? There is multiple categories. Do you think it is practically possible to handle each of this separately, have separate thing? Do you think it's possible? Like, let's say clothing. Will I keep on handling each of these requests? Let's say even in mobiles, I have some other category. What is that? Let's say it's a 4G or 5G mobile. Do you think, can you see the problem here? Clothing, there can be men or women. Again, that can, you can still nest them. Am I right or wrong? So this is something not preferred. You cannot do this. How to handle them, we will see tomorrow. We are already done. Okay. One small thing, we will enable this alone. Let me enable this alone. Let us have it as students. Okay, let us see how to access query params now. My part is done. How to have this, how to handle this dynamic thing and all, we will see later. Sorry, not later, tomorrow. The request will have all the data related to your query params. Let us say I am passing in, as a query param, student name equal to, let's say Shubham. Okay, if I pass this data, my server should be able to access that, right? So it will be available. Let me try to print console.log request dot query. Okay, can you try to print it? So now see this server. Let me go back. If I try to hit this, can you see here print being printed, the response being printed, name Shubham? If I pass in multiple things, let us pass multiple query params. Now if I try to hit, can you see two query params here? Name and Shubham. What are these? JSON? Something kind of a string format. Okay. If you can see here. Okay. So what you can do is simply have it as, you can do destructuring. Dot query. You can simply destructure only name if you want. Okay. So try to print name here. Now, if I start again, let me hit again. Can you see name alone being destructured? Only Shubham is being printed. Can you see this last line? So this is how you will access every query parameters which is available in the URL, in your get URL. Understood how to access it? See, the uses, let's say from the students list, I want only Shubham's details. I don't want all the student list, but I want only Shubham's detail. Let's say they are passing it as a query param. So based on the data which you got it from the request, you will have to serve the data. For now, let us try to send only this data. Now if I go back, okay, based on user's name, I can send the data. Understood? I am creating MCQ. We have done only one. Okay, I'll quickly do it. Any doubts, guys? How to access query? What is query param? How to access them should be clear. Added second MCQ to Tata batch. Added second MCQ to Baba batch as well. Any doubts with second MCQ? I will link an article how emojis are handled in JavaScript. If you have interest, you can go through that. Give me a minute, Venkatesh. I'll show the code. I am just adding the MCQ. Posted second MCQ for Tata. Added it for Baba batch as well. You want me to see show the code? Yeah, I have already. Which part, Venkatesh? This one. We will see
Yes,
more
ma'am.
about it. Yeah, don't think that I just gave the introduction. The concept is still not over. We will see more about it tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So third MCQ. Probably from tomorrow, kindly please anyone remind me to post the MCQ in between the class itself. I don't want you to make stay and do it at the end of the class all at one go. In the beginning of the class, I can remember, but probably every half an hour, if someone could remind me of the MCQ part, we will not have this trouble. Okay, fourth MCQ posted for Tata and we are done for Baba as well. Last MCQ. Enabled attendance for Tata and done for Baba batch as well. Okay. Good night, everyone, whoever is leaving. Otherwise, if you have any doubts, I can explain.
I have a doubt related to
Okay.
yesterday's CC.
Okay, yes, you can share your screen. Let me start.
Yes, please allow. You need to allow me to share
Yes,
this.
yes, I have enabled.
So this is like today's CC, which had this that we need to print a random color generator, a joke, a quote, a riddle, and a current date, right? So first question is, let me just quickly comment them out from here. My right click is not working. What happened? Okay, so if I run it,
It's running. Okay,
so you see it is working properly. It is randomly generating color.
okay.
Okay, and to get it here, what I did, I used inline CSS here in the right document, this right option. I use this div and then pasted some CSS there, and then this call function using this formatted string. Okay, so it is working fine. Now, besides the random color generator, the other ask is that to generate a random quote or you know this jokes and all. What is happening? I am able to use all these functions here in the console. They are giving result, but I'm unable to post them into the server. I mean, where I'm able to see the color div. For example, if I run it here,
One thing, you have only added the random color there, right? Dot
correct,
y random.
correct.
So where are you sending the data, other data?
Yeah, that's the actual confusion, because if I try to add something here, then it gives throws an error. It's not working. What happened? Why it is not proceeding?
One reason is, okay. So if you see here, you are calling. Did you try to
Just
print?
1 second. This is commented out.
Okay. No. I'm asking you one thing. Like, are you calling random color again, similar to how you did, right? In line 20, you have called random color again and again, right?
Just 1 second. Now you can see this. All of them are working. This is
Yes.
one hexadecimal value for random color generator. This is a like joke, and then this is a quote, and then riddle, and at the end we have the date also. Now I'm able to paste the color on the console. I mean on the browser side, but I'm unable to paste this jokes and quotes and this riddles there. What I did is I tried here adding again, giving one more request like same way, but it is giving error. So that's what I want to know, how to print or rest of the things there. Any
You can
idea?
only write it once.
Yes,
Okay. So yeah. So what you should do is handle it based on what is the ask in the CC based on the URL routing path, right? Just check in request. This is not, you are not using Express, right? So just check in the
I'm not
request.
sure it was asked for express or not. Just give me 1 second. This is already
Not in express or Node.js, that's not the problem, but how you handle it is important. Yeah. So these are the routes, right? Like random color, current date. So you can access them. Yeah, simple express server. Okay, you can create them similar to how I showed you the data. Handle it separately and send separately. Okay, for each of those requests, send it separately.
So I should use express here.
Yeah. No, that is not the requirement. But if you see here the request object, if you don't use express, in order to access the path, you will have to use let me quickly check. Request.url. This parameter req, right? REQ which you have in line 19, that has a variable called URL. So that will give you the actual route, the route URL. So based on that, write different data and then send it.
Okay.
Okay, so just check if request.url is equal to /random color. If it is a random color, write this line 20. Put another else if. No, write it based on if it is a joke, return joke.
No, so if I do it like this, here only I need to do it. Oh, sorry, at the here.
Yes, inside in line 20.
Just 1 second.
No, in line 20 itself.
Line 20 itself in the parameters.
Yes. Line 20 meaning before writing. The first line in your function, callback function.
Yeah, this one, no?
No, not that, just below, next line.
This is 19, okay. Okay, this one second.
Line 20, yeah. Just add request.url. Okay, check if it is equal to whatever if it is a random joke. No, give a if condition. If request.url is equal to random joke, send that result. Yeah, equal to no, inside if only conditions. Yeah.
Then
String.
which one?
Quotes. Single quote or double quote.
Okay.
Yeah. / random joke. Yeah, random joke, whatever you wanted to call it. Okay, and then close the brackets and then put / random joke. Close the parenthesis. And then inside a curly braces, write response.write and then send the random color. Else if it is a thing, you handle it. But don't use, I would still suggest, no, this is a tedious process, having multiple else if. Do a express server and handle based on routes. Use .get method.
I'll try with that. Okay.
Yeah. And one other thing is, I would still suggest you are all before itself, when the server is starting itself, you are getting all this data, right? In line 5, 6, 7 and all. Don't do that. Okay. Whenever inside this if condition, okay, in line 20, inside the if condition, when the user is asking for random joke, then hit that call the get random joke function and then return it.
Okay.
Okay, what will happen is your joke will be the standard one. Whenever this user started the server, right, you will have one joke. Okay, every time when the user is hitting the same URL, you will be returning the same joke only.
Correct.
Correct. So only when the user hits the URL, fetch the joke.
Okay, done.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Rajnish, you can share. Right there. Yes, Rajnish. Plan itself went off. Actually, he's not there in the call. Okay, but no problem. If it's helpful for others, no. Yeah. Can you just expand all of them? No, expand your files inside what you have done in the random color. Yeah, that one. Just click that. Yeah, so this is what I was telling to do. Every time when the user hits, then call that function. Probably, I would still suggest, having this kind of, HTML tag inside it. Have a separate file and then try to send that file. Okay, but for now, okay, no problem. But you can still improve. Okay, thank you, Rajesh. Okay. Correct. So the improvement which I was asking is, like, you are sending it as a string HTML tag, right? That you can still improve, put it in a separate file and try to send it as a file only. How you will pass that color data in the file and write it, you can still work on it, but it will be complex, I know. Yeah. Good, good. Others, any doubts? Dheeraj, Prag, okay. Saurabh, Bhavan, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Bye.
Good night, ma'am.